Hey guys, welcome to my second video. Today I want to talk a little bit about something that I've gotten questions about in the past and that I know a lot of people struggle with, especially when they're first learning and even maybe a year or so in, and that's riding on cat tracks. So pretty much a cat track is just a stretch of run that's pretty flat, and I know a lot of people have trouble with these. It can be really hard to balance to keep speed. And a lot of times you can do what's called catching an edge, where you feel like you're going along just fine, and then boom, you're on your face. So I'm going to talk about kind of why people have issues with that and what we can do to kind of avoid those issues and to feel more comfortable, because I know this is something that I struggled with when I was learning. I've gotten a lot of questions. I know a lot of people really struggle with these. Growing up riding at Timberline up in Oregon, we have a lot of cat tracks, and it's pretty hard to get anywhere without getting onto one, and it's really a huge struggle for a lot of people. So hopefully I can make this easier for you guys. Yeah, so let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to do my best to explain this as easily and as with the least amount of kind of terminology and complications. But it's gonna go on for a little bit because I think there's a lot of kind of components to this. So just try and bear with me here, and hopefully this will help you guys out if you need it. The first thing I want to discuss before we get into this is something called the fall line. This is a concept that might seem pretty intuitive to most people, and you might kind of be wondering why I'm talking about this or why this matters, but I promise it will make sense later. This is also a concept that you might think when I explain it, oh, like that's obvious, like who cares? But just to kind of sell you on it, I had a friend who had been skiing for years, and she's a competent skier. And one time she was like, I have a really hard time like on this one run. I was like, oh yeah, it's got a weird fall line. She was like, what the fuck does that mean? And when I explained to her, she kind of like blew it off and just like whatever. And then the next day we got on that run and it totally clicked for her, and it like blew her mind. She didn't even realize like what she didn't know, that most people might just think is intuitive but don't really apply it or don't really understand it very well. So try and bear with me here, and hopefully this will click for you guys too. So I have this piece of paper here, and we can pretend that this is our ski slope, right? So if you think about it, right, this is the top here, bottom. What does gravity want it to do, right? It wants to just take you in a straight line down, right? So if we have a marble here, just gonna roll it down, right? You guys probably already know where the marble's gonna go, right? It's rolled right down. And that's the same thing, right? If this is your ski slope, your snowboard skis are gonna do the same thing. You're gonna go right from it's going to be the quickest path that gravity wants to take. That's how we kind of define the fall line as instructors, is the quickest way down the hill. But the thing is that most ski slopes, you might not have noticed this, but they're not really, the fall lines don't go straight from top to bottom, right? They tend to be wobbly and wonky. Sometimes you'll have something like this, right? We have multiple fall lines, right? So you might have kind of something like this, where one fall line's going to go down this way, and one fall line's going to go this way. Right? It's not always going to go, wherever you are, it's going to go straight from the top of the run to the bottom of the run. That's something we see a lot on cat tracks, right? You might have it think it's pretty much flat, but a lot of times it kind of tilts one way to the side, and then you go somewhere else and it tilts a different way. And you might not always be sure exactly where that is unless you're looking for it. So the first thing I challenge you to do when you're struggling with staying straight on the cat track is try to find that fall line. Look and see, where does gravity want to take me from my exact location? Because generally, the direction of the run does not match the direction of the fall line, right? A lot of times, right, this is my run. A lot of times the fall line might be this direction, but the run goes this direction, right? So I need to take that into consideration when I'm trying to go wherever I'm going. So hopefully you have a good understanding of what the fall line is. Now we want to bring snowboarding into it a little bit, right? So if we have our board and our board is completely flat on that surface, right, it will seek the fall line. So it will go directly down to where gravity wants to take us, right? So if we're on that cat track and our board is flat, and you're thinking, why is my board drifting to the right? Chances are that cat track is sloped a little bit, and that fall line wants to take you that direction. So now, right, if you want to do something about that, if you don't want to be going where the fall line wants to take you, that's where our edges come in, right? So if we get our weight to one edge and we have our board pointed perpendicular to the fall line, right, we're going down this way, our fall line goes this way, we point our board this way, that's how we are able to counteract what that fall line wants us to do. And that's why our edges are so important for snowboarding. So, right, if I'm on that cat track, first thing I want to do is be aware of where that fall line is. Where does gravity want to take me? And next I need to figure out, where do I want to go? Is it the same direction or not? And if it's not, what am I going to do about it, right? So first thing, I want to point my snowboard the direction I want to go and get on an edge that the edge that will allow me to go in that direction. Now, you've probably gotten this far and you're thinking, I'm still drifting down, I'm still going a different direction. That's where the second part that's really important to this. And that's what we call alignment. So when I'm talking about alignment, I'm talking about having my shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles all in line with my snowboard. And that may seem kind of obvious, maybe not, but a lot of times when in life, we like to be facing forward, right? We walk facing forward, we drive facing forward. And if you started off skiing first, you ski facing forward. And by that I mean we're facing the same direction that we're traveling, right? Snowboarding is different because, right, we're moving sideways, but our body is still facing, right, this direction. And we want to just try to turn our heads rather than turning our bodies. And because it's everything else we do in life, we turn our bodies where we're going, it's kind of intuitive to want to open up like this. And what can happen when we do that and we take our body out of that alignment is we create a counter rotation that a lot of times we don't even notice. And what that can do is it can create challenges for us and make our snowboard want to go somewhere that we don't want it to go. So here's something I want you guys to try. That's the whole reason I'm standing up. So try to stand up and get in your alignment, pretend you're on your snowboard, and just jump. Notice that you didn't move anywhere, really, right? You probably just jumped in the same place, you're still facing the same direction. Now, turn your shoulders 90 degrees and do the same thing. Do you notice how my lower body rotated with my upper body was facing? That's the same thing that will happen on your snowboard, right? If you're snowboarding along, going this way, and I turn my shoulders like this, my snowboard naturally want to turn. And a lot of times we really don't even notice that we're doing this. So the best way to kind of keep tabs on yourself is with your hands. If I have my front hand over my nose, my back hand over my tail, it's going to keep my shoulders in a line. And a lot of times you'll notice this, I guarantee you, that when you're maybe on that cat track or doing anything on your board, that backhand tends to want to creep up in front of you. So as you're going along, really try your best, keep both hands over your snowboard and really focus on those shoulders keeping your alignment. My final piece of advice for how to have success on a cat track is keep your speed up. I know a lot of people, it's their first few times, you can kind of get nervous about it and going a little faster than you're comfortable. It's going to be hard, but if you can do that, it's going to be a lot better, right? Because you're not going to get stuck, and it's going to be a little bit easier to keep your balance. If you're going really, really slowly on a cat track, it's really hard to maintain the right body position that you need to not catch an edge. So just going maybe a little bit faster than you're comfortable with, and rather than kind of trying to throw a big skid in to slow down, you can kind of go up, just kind of turn up the hill a little bit if possible. Maybe go a little bit up the bank if you need to stop and rest. That way you're not stopping in the middle of the run where people can run into you, and you're also not going to lose that gravitational potential energy. Right? If you stop a little bit, if you turn up the hill and you need to rest, you'll have that momentum. You're able to keep going. It really sucks to get stuck on cat tracks. You can get in people's way. It can be dangerous. And also having to unstrap and skate is a big pain. And ideally, everyone wants to avoid that. You want to keep your energy for the more fun stuff. Alright, well, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you found some of this advice insightful and helpful. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions, if anything didn't really make sense, and you'd like further explanation. Also let me know if there's another thing you'd like me to talk about in a video, and if anything else that you'd be interested to know at all. I'm here, I'm happy to give you guys advice, whatever you want. Best of luck with the quarantine. I hope everyone stays safe and have a good one.